you guys? Welcome back to Lily Reads. In today's video, we are going to be reading 4 books. It's the start of another reading blog. All of these books have in common, I like their covers. I think their covers are intriguing, and I really don't know what any of these books are about, but I want to read them. So we are going to be reading Alexis Henderson's House of Hunger. This book came out last year, I believe, and we're going to read it. I really like the cover. Don't know what it's about. We will see. We will find out together, won't we? The next book that we have is All's Well by Mona Awad. This is the book I'm most scared to read because I did not like Bunny at all. It was my least favorite book of last year, but I'm giving Mona Awad another chance because I own this book. If I didn't own this book already, she would not be getting another chance. Next, we have All the Woman in My Brain by Betty Gilpin. I don't know what this book is about. Yes, I purchased this book because of the cover last year, the year before. I don't even remember. So let's see what this book is going to give us. It's short. I've seen the book. Haven't heard anyone say anything about the book. We're going to see how it go. And then lastly, the book I'm most excited to read in this video is Bad Fruit by Ella King. I love this cover. I've been wanting to read this book since the moment I got it. And finally, I am going to read it. Did I tell you guys, welcome to Lily Reads? Yeah, these are the 4 books we are going to be reading, and let's go ahead and just get on into the vlog, friends, okay? Peace! Hello, you guys. I am here. I'm gonna sit back. I am here to give you guys initial thoughts on Betty Gilpin's All the Women in My Brain. I did not know 2 things. Number one, I did not know this book was like memoir-esque. It was memoir nonfiction. I did not know this was memoir nonfiction theory, women theory type of book. Did not know. I literally thought I was reading a novel, so that's look what I know. And then I did not know that Betty Gilpin was like famous until like I realized Betty Gilpin was famous. I saw the picture of her. Once I realized this wasn't fiction, I looked at the back of this, and I watched the TV show Nurse Jackie when I was little. I know that this type of stuff my parents used to let me watch. And she was on Nurse Jackie. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know who she is. So I know who this person is. I just didn't know her name was Betty Gilpin, and which is shocking because now that I say her name sounds really, really familiar to me. But I said it today, this book is like nonfiction. So in this book, we are following Betty. Betty is writing this book, and she is telling us about her life and all her struggles and all of that. But this is not a memoir per se. It's told in essays. So there's a table of contents, and she's telling her life through essays, and everything is wrapped around this like feminist idea, this feminist thesis. So her main thesis is this idea that we have 2 selves, or we have 2 trapdoors, right? There's trapdoor 1 that is called Salem, and trapdoor 2, which is called Barbie Cell. And basically, when you're young and you're not impressionable, and you're, making your own identity, you are in like Salem, where you are your wildest, most outrageous self. There's monsters, there's ghouls, there's goblins, things are dirty, grimy, raw. But that's your true self, and you're okay with being your true self, and we all have this true self. But one day something comes, and we choose to be in Barbie Cell, and we choose to see everything through the lens of stuff being fashionable and pretty and desirable and tame, and wanting people to see us a certain way. So we shut down Salem. We shut down Salem because she describes Salem as like this hole. We cover up Salem because we don't want anyone to see our seedy underbelly, the real us. And we do everything through this like Barbie Cell lens. So we take all the things that's interesting about us, that are weird about us, and we put them through this lens of desirability. So we make sure that if we're gonna wear grunge clothes, it's expensive grunge clothes, it's in grunge clothes. Like, even in our weirdness, we want our weirdness to be palatable to people, and that's That's what we begin to do. We try to change ourselves to start being palatable to other people. And she also discussed in this book, which I thought was really clever of her. She talks about even when we're doing the stuff in Salem, so we're being our Salem self, when we're being our most gritty, nasty, vulgar, our truest self or our rawest self, we even change that a little bit. We change that a little bit to be more palatable. Even when you're being edgy, quirky, and weird, your weirdness still has to be seen through a certain lens as desirable. And she talks about how that's actually the worst fate. How you almost put on your true self as a costume. Instead of being your true self, you try to perform your true self, and it really does a disservice to who you really are because you're making a mockery of yourself. She explains this way better in the book, but that's like her thesis of the book. Constantly shutting herself off from her true self in order to be palatable to other people. Basically, this is her trying to find herself, trying to find who she really is, and the things that are lost along the way when she's trying to be something that she's not. I think this book is really, really good. It's really, really good because it's a memoir. You guys know I love memoirs, but I don't need to read a Betty Gilpin memoir. I didn't even know who she was until I knew who she was. But it's interesting the way she's weaving in these ideas, and you're getting a story of her life. It almost adds validity to what she's trying to say. So she's presenting you with an idea, and then you're getting examples from her life, but they don't feel like, here's an idea, here's an example. No, she's weaving them all together. And so you're getting this story that flows, but you're also like learning some interesting things along the way. Like you're getting some knowledge, some theories, some ideas that I think are really, really interesting. She has interesting stuff to say. I think the most interesting thing she had to say in the chapters that really have me intrigued is when she's talking about her childhood. She talks about constantly choosing to be a flunky. So like every time she had friends, she would always choose to be like the flunky to them. And she uses this example that is so interesting. I've never heard anyone explain this idea this way. She talks about how she would seek out women or girls who were more rambunctious, who were more outgoing and more loud because she needed them to show her that it was okay to step off the ledge. So if her spunky, cute, attractive friend flirts with a guy, she now knows how to flirt with the guy now. If her spunky, rambunctious friend does cigarettes, she knows, oh, that's what cool things that she uses it. When people talk about being a flunky, usually they talk about how you're at service to other people. And she talks about that too, how she used to hold people's books just because she used to let people talk over her. But she frames it in this way as well, as if she used these girls as guinea pigs. She used everything they were going through to teach her a lesson. So they were doing all the bad stuff, and she got to pick and choose what bad stuff she was doing, but they were the ones actually doing the living, which is not good. But also a lot of mistakes that they made, she didn't make because she was always looking at them. And it's like, okay, this is safe. And I just thought that was really interesting, this idea of being the sidekick. But those were some really interesting chapters. She was talking about her friend's Halloween costume. There's a good story about that. And then she's an actress. So she's also talking to us about the acting field. And of course, I don't know nothing about that, but it feels valid. You feel like she's telling the truth. I don't know. This is really, really interesting. So much more interesting than I thought it'd be. So much more interesting than I thought it'd be when it first started. Because I will say, the writing on this is very wordy. Like, Betty knows she's clever and she knows she has a good narrative voice, but almost sometimes to a fault, I think. I think she tries to shove in as many metaphors and jokes and you get it in one paragraph that it becomes rough to read. It becomes really rough to read, and the prose isn't smooth. I think at times, like, it can take more. I'm already a slow reader, but it can take me a little while to read a page because so many. And then Betty's references are not my references. I know people who have Betty's type of references. Like, I watch content of people who have Betty, and it's not my type of references. So, like, oftentimes her nods and innuendos and stuff don't land with me because her and I just don't have the same type of humor, or we don't watch the same type of TV. We don't watch the same type of shows. Because sometimes she'll explain something with a metaphor, and I end up more confused than I was before she explained it. I'm like, I thought I knew what you was talking about. Now I don't know what you was talking about. So that would be my only critique. But other than that, this is well done. I looked on Goodreads, and only like 300 people have logged this, who have left a review for this. So that's crazy. I thought this book would be more popular. Anyways, I am going to, football's on. It's still a Monday when I'm doing this. Is still Monday. Football's on. I'm gonna watch some football. And you want to know what? In my wildest of dreams, I feel like I can kind of finish this tonight. I don't know. It takes a long time to read a page, but I am going to read some more. I'm on page 100 if you care. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later and give you guys my final thoughts. Peace. Guys, I am here to give a final reading update. All the Women in My Brain and Other Concerns by Betty Gilpin. I'm gonna go ahead and give this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think I'm gonna log it as a 4, but I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the most hearing about Betty's life. The stories Betty had to tell weren't insanely unique or even all that interesting, but it's the things she took away from these stories that were really interesting. Getting into how her mind thinks and how she sees herself as a person. She's very aware of who she is as a person. And it was just really interesting to read a memoir / a bunch of essays from someone who is like that. Betty is funny, Betty is smart, Betty is quick, but Betty also shows you all the things about her she doesn't like or the things she would change. And the best part about this book was here, like I said, the stuff in her childhood, it was interesting, but also the stuff about her being in Hollywood, that type of stuff, and what she took away from that, and her being very aware of where her career is and how her career was going. I really, really liked it. The stuff I didn't really enjoy, which will get this away from being a 5, it's like anything having to do with like her like romantic relationships. I kind of felt those kind of lacked. Oftentimes I felt like this book lacked convictions. When we would get into stuff about like theory, feminism, I felt like there weren't enough convictions. I felt like there wasn't enough like, I believe this is this, and that's why this is, that you would kind of want from someone discussing theory and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of weak, the weaker parts of this. But overall, this was enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think you should pick this up, by the way. I think because I didn't even know who Betty Gilpin was. I didn't watch Glow. She was on Glow on Netflix. And then all I know her from is Nurse Jackie, which is like the first thing she's like ever done. It was nice just hearing a story you didn't know how it was going to end, you know? I enjoyed that. So let's move on. We have 2 options for the next book. We could move on to All's Well by Mona Awad, or we could read Bad Fruit. I don't know. I don't know which one we're going to do. I feel like to keep this vlog going, to keep, like, we gonna read I know we're gonna read all these books, but like, let's keep this vlog going. I feel like I should do All's Well, because All's Well is the longest one, and it would be nice to get the longest one done. Bad Fruit is short, and it would only take, I could probably read this in like a day. Tomorrow's my off day. So today's Tuesday, friends. Tomorrow's my off day. I take Wednesdays off, and I could really read this whole book tomorrow. So I'm going to decide and tell you what to do. Tell you what we're going to do. I am going to cook some salmon. That is going to be our dinner. So I'm going to kind of prep it, and then I'm going to take a shower. Then I'm going to come back to it. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Oh, you guys, it is bright. Let me move. That didn't help. Ooh, I probably should close my curtains. What we thinking? By the way, you guys, this is the merch, the Lily Reads Book Club merch. I am going to be launching this on Book Club Day, which is January 28th. So, yeah, it says Falling in Love with Every Book. And then on the back, it says Lily Reads Book Club. If you can see. Yeah. Fun. But we'll talk about that at another time because I am here to talk about All's Well by Mona Awad. Why is it so damn bright over here? Anyways, I am reading this book via audio. I was doing my hair and I needed something to listen to, and I was just like, why not read the next book for this video? Especially because I didn't like Bunny by Mona Awad, so it's just like, let me do it on audio so I know I can get through it. So in this book, we are following a character named Miranda. Miranda is like a theater teacher, because she's not a professor, a theater teacher advisor at this liberal arts college, and they are putting on the play All's Well. Well, everything is not well with our main character, Miranda. Miranda has chronic pain. She was in an accident, and it led to her having nerve damage and nerve pain. No one knows why she's having this pain. No one knows how to get to the root of it. She takes pills all the time to deal with this pain. She goes to all different types of doctors, some people who aren't doctors, chiropractors, masseuse, all of that, hoping that someone can get to the root of her pain, but nobody ever does. She walks with a limp, and she kind of just is always at like 40% when it comes to how she views life. She just is always down. She's always sad, down, and out because she has this pain. She doesn't know how to get rid of this pain. And of course, when it comes to chronic pain, a lot of people don't believe you. If you have nerve pain, a lot of people think your pain is fake because there's no way to really see it. There is something wrong, but nobody can see it. No one can diagnose it. So you start to get people who think your pain is fake, and the people who think your pain is real kind of just give you a bunch of drugs and it's like send you on your way. So she is at this place that a lot of people get to who have chronic pain. They don't know what to do. They're just trying to get through life. So the thing that gets her through life is being a teacher at this school. Well, she's putting on the play All's Well, and she has her own reasons why she's putting on the play, and it might not be for the best reasons, but the class don't want to do All's Well. This play is going to be part of this like Shakespeare festival, because they always do the Shakespeare festival. And they want to do Macbeth. They want to do Macbeth. Don't nobody want to do All's Well. And so she's just like, no, we not doing Macbeth. And so everyone stages a coup to try to do Macbeth, and she is trying to figure out how I'm gonna handle that. But in the meantime, in between time, her and her like frenemy Grace, who also works at the school, they like to go down to the bar. And one day she was at the bar. She sent Grace home because her and Grace got beef. Grace is one of the people who have told Miranda to her face that she thinks she's making up her pain. So her and Grace are cool, but it's just like, I'm cool off you though, you know? And so she sends Grace away because she can tell Grace is being judgy and weird. And so she sends Grace away from the bar, and all of a sudden, our girl kind of goes into like this like dream sequency thing where she meets three men at the bar. They come up to her. They know all her issues. They know all her drama that's going on at the school, her body. And they're just like, I'm just like you. We're just the same. And they keep doing that over and over. And one of them kind of offers her like a pain-free life. It's one of those, and they're talking about her stuff. And then one day things start to look up. Things just start to look a little bit different. And that's kind of what's going on in this book. I don't know where to stop with spoilers on this, because like it's a Mona Awad book. I'm just embracing the fact that Mona Awad makes these types of books. Is there a clear plot? No, not really. But you're just here and you're here for the vibes, and this one is working. The thing that's killing me about this book is that these people are like in theater, but they don't know All's Well that ends well. Like, I get it, it's not one of Shakespeare's most popular plays, but like it's no Macbeth, it's no Hamlet, it's no Othello, but y'all don't know this play exists. And like,
I took a Shakespeare class in college. Like, yeah, it's problematic in many like it would be if I was in a theater class, I would have no problem performing All's Well. Would I? Yeah, no. I guess you do want to have a moment where you perform Macbeth, but like everybody at the Shakespeare Festival are gonna be performing Macbeth. I would like to do something that people aren't going to do. I don't know. I don't understand the beef with All's Well that ends well in the context of this book. So there's that. How do I feel about this book? I'm enjoying this book. This book is better than Bunny to me because it's more grounded. Of course, you have the weirdness. You have your unreliable narrator. You have your, is this really happening? Is this not? Is our main character imagining all of this stuff when it comes to like the plot? But I'm enjoying it. Like, even in the stuff, if the stuff isn't real, if it's not, you're there. Like, you guys know I don't do weird, and this book is like just weird enough. It's just weird enough to where I'm here, but not too weird where you're losing me. You lose me. Now, with Bunny, it had to keep going to really lose me, but I thought Bunny was boring even before it lost me. That was my thing with Bunny. I thought Bunny sucked even before I stopped even figuring out what the fuck was going on. This, I'm here. Like, I know what's going on. I'm interested in it. The character is good. It has this dark academia feel to it. And I don't think I'm a dark academia girl, but this has that. And I'm actually enjoying it. Our main character is a little like out of her mind, be doing some bizarre things, questionable things. But because she has this backstory that you know she has chronic pain, she goes to a lot of snake oil salesmen who say they can help her and say they can fix her. She's going through surgery. You understand her. You understand why she's frustrated. And at the root of this is just a woman who wants control back. She wants control, and she's willing to do anything to have control over herself again. And that's what's at the root of this book. This book has interesting things to say about how we discard people with chronic pain, how we take advantage of people with chronic pain, how we belittle people with chronic pain, call them liars and everything else in between. We could all have a little bit more sympathy for people who are constantly in pain. I will say, if you are someone who suffers with chronic pain, this could be triggering, especially like the beginning stuff when we're getting to know everything going on with her. This could be really triggering, so I would definitely watch out for that. But yeah, I am enjoying this book. So anyways, you guys are going to be merched to death every time I see y'all. And I'm going to finish up my hair because I'm coming back with braids. I'm going to finish up my hair and then talk to you guys with my final thoughts, okay? Peace. Hello, you guys. I am back to give my final thoughts on All's Well by Mona Awad. I'm going to go ahead and give this book 4 stars. I don't really have any deep, elaborate thoughts except for I enjoy the story. It was good. This is my type of horror. I don't think I have really a type of horror, but if I did, this would be more up my alley. I just like contemporary-ish horror. I don't really like when we get too horror, you know? I don't know how to explain it, but this is my type of horror, which means that if you were someone who enjoyed Bunny, I don't feel like you would enjoy this book. This is the type of book I thought Bunny was going to be. Like this academia, weird, a little catty, people doing things to each other, people not like. I thought it would be more so like this, actually. So I enjoyed this 10 times more than I enjoyed Bunny. But Bunny is its own thing, you know? I feel like you just have to like Bunny, and this is nothing like that. So if you liked Bunny and it's like, ooh, I'm gonna pick up another Mona Awad, if you truly like Bunny for the reasons you liked Bunny, the way that book is, this is not the one for you because it just is different. It's not as out there. It's not as like whimsical, strange. It's really not that at all. So yeah, all's well. All's well. I enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. Let's move on to Bad Fruit. Let's see if we can keep the vlog going. Hopefully, maybe our next 2 books can be a 5-star. I don't know if I don't have too much. I have faith in Bad Fruit. I don't have faith in House of Hunger. So we'll see. But those are our next 2 books. Bad Fruit is going to come up first, and I'll talk to you guys when I get some of them pages read. Peace. fast and you do what you want. At this time, doing what I want. Hope you doing what you want. What you want. My new bitch look like Halle Berry, but she don't love me, she too scary. My old bitch front like Jackie Brown. I wanna know if she too down. Will you be my leading lady? I want a contract, girl, no maybe. In the meantime, it's not for what I want. It's some me time. Hope you doing what you want. Crib by the beach like Odell. No, but mom, my killers don't tell. Chateau Mama, cause I New York the shelf. Now my bitch is addicted to Chanel. Will you be my leading lady? I want a contract, girl, no maybe. In the meantime, it's not going well. Get some me time. Hope you doing what you want. Might have been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Went gone for a year, only know like once. Life move fast. Went gone for a year, only know like once. Life move fast when you do what you want. At this time, doing what I want. Hope you doing what you want. What you want. My new bitch look like Halle Berry, but she don't love me, she too scary. My old bitch front like Jackie Brown. I wanna know if she too down. Will you be my leading lady? I wanna. Hello, you guys. Sorry, I was eating an orange. I'm here to give first thoughts on Bad Fruit by Ella King. Let me tell you what Bad Fruit is about. In this book, oranges. In this book, we are following a main character by the name of Lily. Lily lives in London with her Asian mom and her white dad. When we get thrusted into this book, Lily is taking care of her mother. Her mother is kind of demanding, kind of wanting her to constantly do stuff for her. And at this moment in time, her mother is kind of really pissed off. She's pissed off at Lily's dad because she has this idea that Lily's dad wants to sleep with Lily's brother's wife. Lily has two siblings, Julia and Jacob, I think his name is. And Jacob has a wife named Fanny or something. And what's her name? And the mom thinks her husband wants to sleep with Jacob's wife because he's been sending poems to the wife. And yeah, Lily has a little bit of information about that, which kind of proves that her theory is not really all the way off. But Lily just wants her mother to calm down. She wants her mother to calm down. She wants her mother to not really get riled up about this because Lily's mother has a tendency to constantly get riled up about stuff. But we get into Lily's life. Lily lives in the attic of this house by choice. She likes to get away from everything. She kind of like writes weird things on the wall. Lily is kind of disturbed in a kind of a way. We don't know what it is, but things in her mind aren't all the way that they should. But we do know that her mother wants Lily to be her perfect daughter. She dresses Lily up in a certain way, makes Lily do her makeup in a certain way. She makes Lily dye her hair so that she is her mom's perfect daughter. Jacob and Julia, her siblings, are not that way. They do not listen to what the mama gotta say. They do not know. They are off doing their own thing. And Lily has kind of been left to deal with their mother, who goes on these like tangents and who can be really mean and rude. And Lily kind of deals with that. Well, one day, Lily starts to have these flashbacks in her head. And she realizes quickly these flashbacks in her head that she's having are not her own flashbacks. She thinks they're her mother's flashbacks. And that gets her questioning everything her mother has ever said to her and the life that her mother had before she became a wife and a mother, and what trauma she might have been a part of. That sounds really interesting, doesn't it? And at times it is, but at other times this book is boring. I think right now I'm just really bored of this book. This book reads very easily. That is one thing I will say. I'm on page 125. I'm like right at the halfway point. This book reads really easily. You can knock out a bunch of pages. Like, I'm going to finish it today, I know. You can knock out a bunch of pages really quickly. But I do think it's not, for such a good premise, like you taking on your mother's trauma, you kind of being forced to deal with your mother's pain and stuff and everything going on in the house and all that stuff. I think you're kind of out of touch with these characters. Maybe because it reads so easily, it's not that dense of a book. These characters kind of just feel a little flat. And you guys know, you can give me a good plot, but a good plot is useless to me if there's not good characters to carry a good plot. I have to feel something for these characters. So when they're in these moments, I really feel like something bad could happen to them and I don't want it to, or I do want it to, you know? And that's not these characters. Lily's fine. Her mother's fine. Her siblings are fine. It's just you keep learning things about them without feeling anything for them. It's just like, okay, Jacob is dealing with, you know, some anger issues. Okay, got that. Julia's doing this. Okay, got that. Daddy's doing this. Okay, but I don't really feel like they're like I know them. I'm a part of them. They're a part of me, you know? And I think it's just making the book boring. It's making the book boring. There's some other things going on in this, but you will have to read to figure out those other things. So this is not shaping up as good as I thought it would, but maybe it will surprise me in the last half. I'm still keeping out hope. Anyways, I'm going to finish it though, and I will come and give my final thoughts, okay? Peace.
Hello, you guys. I'm here to give my final thoughts on Bad Fruit by Ella King. I'm gonna go ahead and give this book 4 out of 5 stars. I know the last time you guys saw me, I was talking big shit about this book, saying that this book was boring, but the last half of this book gets so damn chaotic, and like the plot just starts moving, and so much shit happens, and for the better. Like, it gets really, really interesting, and then like everything came together for me. Like, the point of this book has something very interesting to say about violence and people who witness violence and go through violence and the trauma they carry and the different ways they react to that trauma. A lot of times when we read books about people who have gone through trauma, we read books about them becoming like better people. And, you know, they've learned from their trauma and they know what not to do. But oftentimes in real world, that's not the case. A lot of people who have witnessed violence or violence has been enacted against them, they go out into the world and also cause violence, you know, because it's all that they know. And that's what this book explores. And it also explores this idea of trying to escape that. And can you escape that? And the battle that comes with that. And the cost that it comes with, you know, when you do try to escape your family, your childhood, and all this stuff, the stuff that you lose in that, and the stuff that you can't have, trying to break cycles. And sometimes the reason why a lot of people who have experienced violence go out into the world and throw that violence onto other people is because a lot of times you lose so much in trying to break that cycle. You know, it's hard to break that cycle and choose something new, go out on a limb and do something new. And I thought that was really, really interesting. So I actually do recommend this book to people. It's not going to be for everybody. And yes, there are severe trigger warnings for abuse, but I enjoyed it in the end. So the last book we are going to read for this video is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. It says on this book, this is the author of The Year of the Witching. I actually own that book. Like, for the first time ever, I actually own a book that someone has written before. I'm reading it. I own The Year of the Witching. I've owned The Year of the Witching for years, and it's just sitting on my bookshelf upstairs. So one day, I have like 4 witchy books that I own. And I feel like one day I'm just gonna give you guys a witchy vlog, so I never pick up those witchy books. I'm like, I'm gonna save it for the vlog. I'm gonna save it for the vlog. That vlog might never come, baby. That vlog might never come, baby. But my goal in 2024, I keep coming up with goals for 2024, but a goal of mine in 2024 is to read the books that I just been putting off. Like, Bad Fruit is a book I wanted to read immediately, put off. This book, love the cover, put off. All's Well, just been putting off. All the Women in My Brain, been putting off. Like, they've been putting off. I'm not doing that no more. I'm going to read the books, because what is it to just read the books you've been putting off, you know? So last year was all about reading new purchases. This year is about reading this old shit, getting this old shit. So I am gonna read the Year of the Witching this year. But first, we read House of Hunger. I will come back for initial thoughts on that and talk to you guys later. Peace. Hello, you guys. Are you guys tired of seeing this sweatshirt? Lucky for you, this is the last clip of the vlog. So I have read and completed House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. I do own The Year of the Witching, and since we are in front of my bookshelf, I can show you it because it's right here. Boom. This is The Year of the Witching. I have not read it. I will try to get to it this year. I will make it a priority at some point. Anyways, House of Hunger. So because I already read it, the reason why I've read it and like not giving you any updates, I did my nails. They're hideous. So like don't zoom in or anything. They're hideous. They're terrible. But I'm keeping them on until I don't got time to redo. I already redid them again and they still ugly. They're not as ugly as they originally were. But needless to say, it takes me about 2.5 hours to do my nails. So I just listened to this on audio, and let me tell you what this book is about. In this book, we are following a main character by the name of Marion. Marion is poor, destitute. She live with her brother. She don't got no family. And they struggling to make ends meet. Her brother is mean and nasty to her. And she's just like, I gotta figure something else out. Like, I can't do this no more. I gotta figure something else out. So one day she's hanging out with one of her little friends, and they open up the paper, and in the marriage section of the paper, there are rich like houses, so houses from up north, asking for blood maids, so people who will allow the people of these houses to use their blood for nutrition. And most people don't do it because they don't really like these houses, and it's like weird, like you're kind of a slave to these houses. And so, but this girl is just like, I gotta figure something out. Everybody tells her no, she shouldn't do it. No, she shouldn't do it. Her brother is the biggest naysayer and tells her not to go do it, but she kills her brother and she goes and does it. She goes to the House of Hunger and becomes a blood maid. Now, you can be a blood maid to a man, or you can be a blood maid to a woman. The head of the House of Hunger is a lady named Elizabeth. Is her name Elizabeth? Did I make that up? Elizabeth. You can tell I read it on audio. Her name's Elizabeth. And basically, she is the head of the House of Hunger. And before you can become like a blood maid, the person has to like taste your blood to see if your blood is good. So you have someone who like sells the girls to these houses. So he tastes her blood and it's like, you're perfect. Elizabeth is going to love you. Let's take you there. So she goes to the House of Hunger, and Elizabeth's like, I'm not even looking for a girl. And she's just like, but let me try your blood. So she tries her blood. Her blood is absolutely amazing. She becomes part of the House of Hunger. But quickly she notices things are not on the up and up around here, and there might be secrets hidden within these walls.
and she might not be as safe as she thinks she is, because when she gets to the House of Hunger, it's a life of luxury. She lives nice, she has maids, she has nice clothes, good food, and so she's just like, this is great, this is better than what I was doing. But everything comes at a price, and that is the House of Hunger. This book, the perfect word to describe this book is competent. This book works. Like, it works. And that's about it. I'm gonna give this book 3 out of 5 stars, 3.5 maybe, because like there was no moments where I was like absolutely disgusted by it. Like, it was 3.5 star book. Like, it works. The writing is fine. The plot is fine. The characters are fine, and everything ends fine. Like, it works. Everything is fine. But to me, this book lacks any depth. It starts to feel like you're reading a novella, and for a book that is 300 pages, I don't know why it feels like a novella. This book, so the real sell of this book is that, and this is kind of a spoiler, but Elizabeth and Marion, they kind of develop like a sapphic relationship, which is absolutely great. We love sapphic vampire stories. But the issue is that like Marion starts making choices because she likes Elizabeth, and their relationship is not grounded in anything. Just one day they're just like madly in love with each other, and Marion's doing stupid stuff for Elizabeth, and you're just like, why? Like, you don't know this lady, and this lady do not know you, and one day they're just like so attracted to one another in so many different types of ways. Not even romantic attractiveness, but like every part of them, it's just like they're gravitated towards each other, and there's no there it's I'm gonna just say it's insta lovey. It just becomes really insta lovey to move the plot along, and so you go with it, but nothing shocking happens in this book. And I'm not saying I need to be gooped and gagged at every turn, but I do want there to be some depth where like I didn't see something coming. Like, oh wow, this is intriguing. And that never happens in any part of this book. You can map the plot out yourself with all the stuff that I gave you. And if I gave you a few more details, you can map out this exact plot, exactly what happens, and exactly how it ends. It's just not anything new. It's just not anything. It's not even all that fun. It's just, I don't know. It's just fine. But like, I don't have any major critiques except the insta-lovey part, because everything else just works. Like, it just works. It's a simple story. It works. I can't see someone reading this and hating this, but I also don't understand anyone reading it and being madly in love. A book that does this kind of better is A Dowry of Blood, which I read last year and now can't find. It's way back there, so no, I won't go get it. But A Dowry of Blood did this exact same plot. Well, not exact same, but it's a vampire story. Someone's like, blood is there. It works. It's kind of the same thing, and A Dowry of Blood is better. And so if I say A Dowry of Blood is better, and I gave A Dowry of Blood like 3.754 stars, I'm going to give this a solid 3. This is a solid 3-star book, and I am okay with that. So that's that on that. That's the end of this vlog. That is the end of this vlog. Let's talk about the books that we read, because we kind of read all over, I feel like. Even though 3 of these books will be considered horror books, so I'm actually lying. We didn't read from all over. This is actually the most like genre-specific vlog I've probably done in a while. But the first book that does not have anything to do with horror is a memoir from Betty Gilpin, All the Women in My Brain and Other Concerns. In my opinion, this is the best book that I read in this vlog. The good things I have to say about this book is that this book is really thoughtfully done. Betty Gilpin has a really interesting narrative voice that's really like fun to read from. And what I loved about this as a memoir is that she takes different moments in her life and says what she learned about herself in those moments, and that's kind of what weaves the story together. You get this collection of essays, and her what she learned from herself in each moment is what the takeaway from each essay is. So it's not necessarily about what's going on, because the stuff that she's telling you is not all that exciting. Like, I tried cigarettes, my boyfriend left me. Like, it's not that, like, even salacious. It's not salacious, it's not scandalous, it's not even shocking. It's just stories, and she's telling you what she learned about herself in those moments, and that would lead her to another moment. And I thought it was so well done. Some of the metaphors she uses in this book, or some of the ideas she comes up with in these books, are really visionary, quite frankly. For this to come from someone who is an actress by trade, like, some of the stuff she's saying in here is really, really visionary. So I think this is a read that everyone should pick up, and I think you would have a better time than you think with it. The next book we have, we read 2 books on audio, child. All's Well by Mona Awad. In this book, I'm not telling you what's in this book. Go back to that clip and go find out what happens in this book. I thought this book was good. I think the more I would probably think on this book, the more I probably wouldn't like it. I think in this current moment, I'm going to give it a 3.75. I think that's what I'm good with, 3.75. I like what this had to say about chronic pain. I love what this had to say about the way that we dispose of people and treat people with chronic pain. And I also like that our main character kind of became like crazy in the head and started doing strange things, and it asked this question: what would you do with control? Like, if you had control and autonomy over your body, what would you do, and the lengths you will go to keep that. I thought it was all really well done. I thought it was thoughtfully done. I'm going to give this 3.75. Another book that I think that you should read. And I liked it a hell of a lot more than I liked Bunny. Like, there's Bunny and then there's All's Well. Like, just, this is the better book. Next thing we have is Bad Fruit by Ella King. This book had me in the first half. I was like, this is the most disappointing book. I can't stand these characters suck. No. The more you read this book, the more this book just starts to spiral out of control. And I think if you take it for what it is, I'm just saying, the last 150 pages of this book is a pure page turner. Like, you are just like, what, you have to know what the hell is going on and what the hell is going to happen. But at the root of this book is a story about violence and people who inflict violence onto others, and what happens to the people who violence has been inflicted on, and what is left of us after the fact, and how we treat other people once we've been through that. Once again, another book that was really thoughtfully done. 4 out of 5 stars. And then the worst book that I read, unfortunately, in this video was House of Hunger. Not mad that I read it. I am not mad that I read it, but it just wasn't the strongest book. Anyways, these are the books that we read in this vlog. I will not see you guys next week for a weekly vlog because we have book club on Sunday. So instead of a weekly vlog on Sunday, you're going to get book club on Sunday, and we are reading Even If the Sky Is Falling. I will see you guys on book club, and yeah.